will be absolutely silent. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Well, hello, everyone. And like I said before, if you didn't hear me, I'm jealous of the beer that y'all have because here it's a little early. I'm Patricia Thrushart, co-founder of Poets Against Racism and Hate USA, and I've dialed in from the wilds of Pennsylvania, and I do mean wilds. I live in the country here. And I'm joined by six of our members, they're each going to introduce themselves when they begin to read, and we have several states represented. So Manjeet asked me to give you a little history about Poets Against Racism and Hate, and I'll take as little time as possible because I know we all want to get to the poetry. But our origins really start with you folks. In 2021, the other co-founder, Debbie Allen, was writing social justice poetry, and she was looking for a community to join of like-minded poets. And she found Manjeet on the internet, and they began collaborating. At the same time, she was involved with a writers group here in Western Pennsylvania, and I was a president of the board. And she asked me if I would join her in uh, arranging a reading to acknowledge the first anniversary of the murder of George Floyd. So we did that. And when we saw how much it engaged our community, we asked ourselves, how can we keep this going? And that's when we decided to form Poets Against Racism USA. Since then, we've really grown. I was just telling the group I signed someone up from New Orleans, Louisiana. We have poets and sponsors and supporters from half of the 50 states at least, if not more. We hold virtual meetings, virtual readings, virtual workshops, in-person readings and workshops, and we often get involved in special activities like a Underground Railroad celebration in a state, for example. Speaking of workshops, I'll just mention that Manjeet Sahota is going to give a workshop for us about the fear that that surrounds the enforcement of immigration policies. It's called Who Belongs Here. It's on May 2nd at 2:00 p.m. So if you're interested, we still have spots. So with that little backdrop in mind, what I want to emphasize is the solidarity we have for the UK organization and how much we feel their support and how much your energy comes arcing back here and infusing our organization. And it's a collaboration we treasure. So with that, I think we should turn over to the poetry. So I'm going to ask our first reader, Pam Campbell, to introduce herself and read for us.
Okay. I'm Pam Campbell, and I'm a daughter of the Appalachians. I was born in the Southern Appalachians, which is Birmingham, Alabama, and reared in the Central Appalachians, which is Eastern Kentucky and Southwest Virginia. And my poem that I'm going to read is written in the form of a postcard. And here it is. Postcard, Robert E. Lee Jr. High School, Danville, Virginia, 1963. Dear friend, sorry for not remembering your name. US Route 29 took me through Danville today. Air closed tight like a fist in my chest. First time I've been back since I left after 8th grade. I fled east on US Route 58. Back home, name haunted, I hunted, attic store boxes for school memories. Found this black and white picture postcard of our school. 2-story brick with wide, double hung windows, empty of children's faces. Lee honored there, separated us. Love, Pam.
Excellent. Thank you, Pam. Next, I'm going to call on J. Thomas Brown. You're still muted, Tom. Oh, there you
Okay.
go.
For some reason, I was clicking the wrong audio button. There we go. Am I coming through okay? Good. So I'm Tom Brown. I live in Richmond, Virginia, not to be confused with Richmond on the Thames. Uh, and I write, I call it disenfranchisement poetry and social justice poetry. And and I'm sitting here with my wife. You can't see her; she's out of view, but she's also joining in alongside me. Her name's Deborah, and so I'm going to read a poem that was inspired by a cherry tree in our yard. This is really from the first uh, Trump presidency, and it's going back to that time, but it seems to apply just as much today. Invasion. On a morning walk in early spring, a cherry tree spread its petals to the sun, black cables stretched above, pulsing light of offs and ons, singing zeros and ones. Inside the fiber optic sheath, stories from foreign places, spoken in a language I do not know, invaded every household lined along the road. Keening mothers in Aleppo searching the morgues, lament of a boy in Baghdad, legless in his blood, dirges of murdered prayers in burning mosques and churches, silent stare of children locked in cages, pan away from sinking boats, pan away from the blat of bump stock guns, close up to a politician lying through septic pores in ultra definition. Broken in a flash, a data burst on a bright spring day above the cherry tree. In a country I do not know. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. You remind me to apologize to our UK friends for the current regime,
Absolutely.
and everything they're doing to wreak havoc in the world. Thanks for that poem. So the next is Mick Parsons. Mick, you have the stage.
All right. Just want to thank y'all for including me in this. This is really exciting. I live in Louisville, Kentucky, but I'm from other places. That is the correct pronunciation, by the way, Louisville. Calling it Louisville here is sort of like setting yourself up to get a punch. So just don't. Anyway, so this poem, it's a short poem in 3 parts called History Lessons People Scroll Through. 1. Make it stop, make it stop, make it stop. Resistance cannot stop, or none of it will, forever. 2. I can scream if it helps. It never seems to. 3. These boots, blood martyrs, should not need to be what history books taught us. They should not need to be. This God, those disciples are not what small town churches taught us. They are. And it was all wrong then, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mick. You know what, Jared, I'm going to let you go next if you would, because I'm going to read for Matthew. And so rather than have me jump in now, it would be better if we spend some time with you, if that's all right.
Sure, that's absolutely fine. Hello, everybody. My name is Jared Morningstar. I am from Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and in addition to writing poetry and fiction, I am also a creative writing educator at a high school here in Michigan. And I get a chance to be inspired by art every day, and art's role is as important now, maybe more important now than it ever has been. And I'm so proud to be part of an organization and be having the close relationship we have with your organization, standing up for what is right, because art can change the world, and that's why they want to stop it, because they see what it has done. And this is a rallying cry for all of us. This poem is called Make Art Dangerous Again. Make art dangerous again. Like Twain roasting the KKK at the height of its powers, calling them cowards who only find courage in a crowd with other half men under masks again. Like Gilman and Chopin pondering a world without men, that greater happiness and freedom could be found when a woman wasn't bound to a husband and his last name again. Like Hughes, too, seeing America, acknowledging what Whitman wouldn't, and making sure the nation read his page for English B, that its blinders were torn off, and that it had to admit that black people were less free again. Like Guthrie arming himself with plain-spoken speech against fascists and greedy capitalists who were willing to let the poor starve in alleys and ditches just so they could keep lining their pockets again. Like Ginsberg howling against conformists to save the best minds of his generation from those who'd crush their spirit and dreams and keep them imprisoned by rules in a suburban hellscape again. Like Hendrix setting fire to his guitar, literally and metaphorically, when he blistered the Star-Spangled Banner at Woodstock, raising awareness to bombing overseas and injustice at home again. And like Banksy, still creating with a vilified medium in the faces of closed-minded squares, forcing them to look directly at what's wrong with the world and the authoritarians who choose to keep art in museums and the public ignorant again. So, pick up your pens, your guitars, your brushes, your spray paint. Keep up the good fight with words instead of fists. And let's raise hell so that we don't end up living there. So that we can keep the promise alive. So that one day things will truly be great again. Thank you.
What a great call to action. I mean, that just spoke to the activist hearts of all of us, I'm sure. Thank you, Jared, and thank you, everyone. I'm going to read a poem by our last poet, Matthew Scott Harris, who couldn't be here today. And I'm going to do my best to justify this or to do justice to it. He wrote this poem specifically for the event. It's called Trump, Ice, and the Burning Planet. Matthew lives in Schwenksville, Pennsylvania, but he's originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. So here goes. Trump at the forefront of an all-out assault upon the 250th founding anniversary, when the concept of no kings, a nascent, barely incipient on the register, issued courtesy the first notable bell to ring for American democracy, hashtagged the Liberty Bell, then known as the State House Bell, housed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which told and told time and place of freedom, albeit limited. In the tower of the Pennsylvania State House, now Independence Hall, on July 8, 1776, to summon citizens for the first public reading of the Declaration of Independence. Inchoate pioneer spirit annulled the omnipotent bond chomping at the bit feed illicit British suzerainty, courtesy, the forefathers who revoked British suzerainty and declared American independence, collectively known now as the Founding Fathers, and historically, these leaders, predominantly part of the American elite class, often described as landed gentry or merchant class in the colonies. This group included wealthy landowners, merchant elites, plantation owners, and professional lawyers, well educated, and in many cases, part of the existing local political structure, whereas yours truly, if alive at that time, I most likely would be slaving away as an indentured servant, allotting whatever sparse leisure hours available to read and write poetry, courtesy cribbed hand printing, since high or even slow speed internet or a rudimentary facsimile thereof would probably be tickling the fancy Jack of all trades, original phrase, often better than a master of one, someone like Benjamin Franklin, a polymath and a self-taught academician, whose wise sage proverbs, whether he abided by them or not, stood the test of time. No doubt little or no fanfare for the common man, gave absolute zero notion to keep up with the Joneses, especially those hamlets, sparsely populated, and no one could arise breathing the fragrant air of the Appalachian spring. Well, thank you on behalf of Matthew there. And thanks to all of you. Thank you so much to the poets from Virginia and Kentucky and Michigan and Pennsylvania who joined us. Thanks for having us, Manjeet and Rob and the rest of the team. I really appreciate this opportunity. Our mission statement is to use the power of poetry to challenge racism, hatred, and bigotry. And we do that by amplifying the voices of our members, and you certainly have allowed us to do that today, and we thank you so much.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah, I just want to say a big thank you from here, but I'm just going to try to get everybody to stand up and give you a round of applause for the fantastic.